Unit 2, Traffic Engineering and Signaling, Part 4. So first is the introduction related to the PCM signaling. So nowadays PCM systems are widely used and signaling in this system is of considerable interest. With built-in PCM signaling, in addition to the bits required to transmit a speech and ensure frame synchronization, bits are required to carry a signaling information which is usually a binary coded at the transmitting end and reconverted to original form at the receiving end. The signaling information presenting to a particular speech channel may be carried in the same time slot as the speech or in separate time slot. The former is known as the in-slot signaling and later it is out-slot signaling. Now the signaling information carried in a separate time slot is referred as out-slot signaling. The time slot of the in-slot signaling is fixed at 8 bits. As 1 bit is used for signaling, the speech bit rate is reduced to 56 kbps from 64 kbps and the bandwidth is reduced. The telephone channels are combined by the time division multiplexing to form an assembly of 24 or 30 channels. This is known as primary multiplex group. Two frame structure are widely used in the practice. They are D1 24 channel system and European it is 30 channel system. Originally, the DS1 is called as T1 system and the T1 that is Telecommunication Standard Entity Number 1 is a standard committee which is designed and ANSI T1 date. The T1 uses some very specific conventions to transmit the information between the both ends. One of these is framing sequence that format the samples of the voice or data transmission. Framing undergone several evolutions. So starting with DS1 signal as a fundamental block, before that the control signal and the speech signals are sampled and encoded and then transmitted within PCM frames. So what is in-slot signaling? In-slot signaling means when the control signal and speech signals are carried in a same slot, then it is called as in-slot signaling. Here time slot fixed to 8 bits. Here 1 bit is control signal and 7 bits are speech signal. And the data rate in in-slot is 56 kbps, that is 7 into 8 kbps is 56 kbps. Now what is out-slot signaling? It means that when the control signal and speech signals are carried in separate time slot. With the help of TDM, telephone channels are combined to form 24 or 30 channel system multiplexer. Here the two frame structure is available, the DS1 24 channel system and European 30 channel system. So starting with DS1 signal as a fundamental block, the table which is given below, it lists the digital TDM signals of North America and Japan, and DS0 is 64 kbps signal that makes up the basis for the DS1. Now this table shows the digital TDM signals of North America and Japan, and this table gives a popular some popular framing evolution, that is D1 means it is a voice or analog data. D2, D1D, D3 and D4, these all are voice and D2 is voice and analog data, D1D is also voice and analog, D3 voice and analog and D4 is voice and digital data. Now the next table shows that the digital TDM signals where here designated DS0 has number of voice circuit is 1, bit rate is 0.064. For DS1 number of voice circuit is 24 and bit rate is 1.544. For DS1C, number of voice circuits are 48 and bit rate is 3.152. For DS2, number of voice circuits are 96 and bit rate is 3.152. For DS3, number of voice circuits 672 and bit rate in Mbps is 44.736. And for DS4, number of voice circuits are 4032 and bit rate in Mbps is 274.176. So these are the digital TDM signals. Now next is DS1 24 channel system. So this DS1 24 channel system is also called as T1 carrier system. It is also called as T1 carrier system. The DS0 is 64 kbps signal that makes up the basis for DS1. Now 24 DS0 combined to produce a DS1. The figure which is shown below, it shows the architecture of T1 link and DS1 frame format. Now the first diagram shows the structure of T1 link. So here voice inputs are analog, that is 1 to up to 24. It is given to the PCM block. Output of PCM is DS0, DS0, which is digital signal, which is then given to the TDM multiplexer, and output of this is 1.544 Mbps digital signal. The second diagram shows that the architecture DS1 frame format. Now it consists of 192 bit plus it is used to identify the frame boundaries. Here the DSO is 64 kbps signal and basis for this is DS1. Here TDM is used. It is time division multiplexing. Each TDM channel carries 8 bits. So overall each frame is 24 by 8, that is 192 bits plus one additional bit to identify the start or stop of the frame. So the total bit in one frame is 193. 192 plus one additional to identify start or stop of the frame. Now the frame duration is 125 microsecond. Data rate is 1.544 Mbps. And the latest version of 24 channel system uses 12 frames together forming one multiframe. 193rd bit in this multiframe is used for the frame alignment signal. In every 6th frame, 8 bit is for the signaling bit. Here, incoming analog signal were time division multiplexed and digitized for the transmission. Each individual TDM channel are assigned 8 bits for time slot. Each frame is made up of 24 by 8, that is 192 bits plus one additional. The frame interval is 125 microsecond. So the basic T1 line is 1.544 Mbps. This line rate has been established as the fundamental standard for the digital transmission. The earlier version of 24 channel system consists of 7 speech bits plus one signaling bit. The recent version of 24 channel system uses 12 frames together called as a multiframe. In multiframe, in every 6th frame, the 8 bit of each channel is used for signaling instead of speech. Now, the 193rd bit of the PCM frame is used on alternate frame in the multiframe arrangement, except the bits mentioned here. Remaining all the bits are used for the speech. Now, this arrangement reduces the quantization distortion. For sampling rate of 8 kHz, this arrangement provides a signaling channel capacity of 1.33 kilobits per second. The signaling channel is further subdivided into two separate channels of capacity 667 bits per second. Next is channel PCM system. It is based on 30 speech channels transmitted within a frame of 32 time slots 0 to 31. The total bit rate is 32 by 8 by 8 kilobits per second, that is 2048 kilobits per second. Now the channel 0 is used for providing the framing signal and channel 16 is used for transmitting the signal information relating to speech channel 1 to 15 and 17 to 31. Now the figure shows the 30 channel PCM system. So this diagram shows the 30 channel PCM system is the first diagram, and second diagram is multi-framing. So here one frame is equal to 32 times slot of 8 bits each. Overall bit rate is 32 by 8 by 8, that is 2048 kilobits, and 16 frames is equal to 1 multi-frame. Now the channel 0 provides the framing signal and channel 16 provides the signaling information related to speech signal 1 to 15 and 17 to 31. Now channel 16 is shared between the 30 channels. 16 successive appearance of the channel 16 form a multi-frame of 8-bit time slot. Frame 0 has multi-frame alignment signal and frame 1 from 16 to 4 bits of the signaling information for each of 2 channels. Here the 8 bits of the channel 16 are shared between 30 channels by a process of multi-framing. 16 successive appearance of the channel 16 form a multi-frame of 8-bit time slot. Frame 0 contain a multi-frame alignment signal. Now the frame 1 to 16 contain 4 bits of signaling information for each 2 channels. This arrangement enables a much larger number of signals to be exchanged. Next is inter-register signaling. When inter-exchange signaling takes place between the exchanges with a common control subsystem, then it is called as inter-register signaling. The main purpose is the exchange of the address digit which pass from exchange to exchange on a link by link basis. So the definition of inter-register signaling is inter-exchange signaling takes place between the exchanges with common control subsystem, then it is known as inter-register signaling. In multiple link network of the register control exchange, the calling customer sends the address information to the register in exchange. Then that address is routed to another register till terminating exchange is reached. This needs inter-register signaling, and this can be done by link basis or end-to-end basis. Now the multiple operation in this introduce a post dialing delay In-band multi-frequency method is used to reduce this delay. It is faster than conventional loop or disconnect pulsing method. Now, why inter-register signaling require the line signaling in addition with it? Because the first is inter-register signaling is not used for siege, answer and clear signal. Now, no register is connected when siege signal is received, and the register is released after setting up a connection through its exchange and send out address information. Therefore, it cannot receive answer and clear signal. So it requires line signaling. Now there are two types of line signaling: en bloc signaling and overlap signaling. Now, what is en bloc signaling? Here no signal is sent until the complete address information is received. Hence the delay in digit analysis at Rx. What is overlap signaling? It means address digits are sent as soon as possible. Hence signaling may take place simultaneously on two links, that is signal overlap, and it reduces the post dialing delay. Now the types depending on the construction and technique employed is: one is link by link signaling and second is end to end signaling. Now in link by link signaling, in this technique, the information is exchanged only between the adjacent register in multi-link network. Here, each transmit register receives, store and retransmit the complete information to the next register in link. The advantages of this is signals suffer only from attenuation, distortion, noise, etc. of single link. Here, if a network is to be modernized, then there is no requirement of modification of all the registers simultaneously. Now there are some disadvantages of link by link signaling. The first one is holding times of the register and the post dialing delays are long, hence longer propagation delay in the system. And the second disadvantage is all the registers must be compatible with the originating register. Then the next type is end-to-end signaling. In this technique, the originating register controls the setting up of connection until it reaches the final stage of the network. Here, each transit register receives only the routing information. With the help of this information, it selects the outgoing route to the next exchange in connection. So, once this task is finished, it released an originating register sends signal to the next register and process is repeated till the terminating register. Now the advantages is: first advantage is register holding times and post dialing delays are shorter. Disadvantages of this type is all registers must be compatible with the originating register. Here signal suffers the transmission impairments like attenuation, distortion, etc. by several links in tandem. Therefore, VF receiver with a better dynamic range are needed. Now, the next is MF inter-register signaling system. Here, each digit is set by the combination of two frequencies out of 6 available, that is 2 by 6 MF. It provides the error detection. The combination of two frequencies out of 6 provide 15 possible digit values. Therefore, 5 extra signals are available in addition to the digits 1 to 0. These frequencies are spaced at 120 Hz or 200 Hz. The signal limitation cannot occur. His speech immunity is not required by the VF receiver. This allows the use of short signal pulses. Now, the directional LPF allows the signaling over two-wire circuit if required. There are some applications also. The first application is Bell R1 system. In this system, it uses 6 frequencies spaced at the interval at 200 Hz between 700 Hz to 1700 Hz. As the acknowledgement signals are not required, no backward frequencies for the signaling are allotted. Here, this system transmits 12 forward signals. One is KP, that is start of pulsing. Second is digits at 1 to 0, and third is ST, that is end of pulsing. It also makes the use of link by link signaling. The second application is CCI-TTR2 system, that is regional signaling system number 2. It provides both forward and backward signal. Generally, continuous compelled signaling is used. End-to-end signaling is used. It uses the frequencies which is spaced at 120 Hz. Forward frequencies are 1380, 1500, 1620, 1740, 1860 and 1980 Hz, and the backward frequencies 540, 660, 780, 900, 120, 1140 Hz. Here, more than 15 signal can be sent in each direction because one signal frequency combination is used as a shift signal. Now, some of the additional signals are used for international calls. There are different versions available for R2 system. Now the next is common channel signaling. Next is common channel signaling. Now here the signaling is completely separate from the switching and speed transmission. The signaling is done over a channel that is different from the one which carries the voice or data. The CCS, that is common channel signaling, is digital in nature. The modems are used for carrying the digital data over analog lines. Since the channels are dedicated for the signaling, they are capable of carrying a signaling information for a group of circuits. Here the group size is determined by the capacity of signaling channel. The CCS network is basically a store and forward network where signaling information travel on a link by link basis along the route. When the signaling information is received at a node, it's stored, processed and forwarded to the next node in the route. So the definition of this is the signaling technique which makes the use of separate common channel for control signal for a group of trunks or the information path is known as common channel signaling. This common channel is entirely different than the voice and data channels. All the CCS signaling is carried over the modems as the signals are of digital nature. Now the next is this diagram shows the basic CCS network. This is this diagram shows the principle of common channel signaling or basic schematic of the CCS. Here, instead of using the same link for the signaling information and message, and as in channel signaling, the common channel signaling uses a dedicated line for the signaling information between the stored program control elements of the switching system. Now, its working is the basic working of CCS is based on link by link basis along the route. It also uses the store and forward mechanism. There is direct message passing between the central processors. Hence, no connection is required to an incoming junction before an address signal is received. In CCS, data link sends the message that identifies the specific trunks and event. The address signal can therefore is the first message sent and there is no need of seed signal. Queuing of the message from a processor is implemented over a signaling link. The number of speed circuits in the network depends upon the acceptable delay. For example, the signaling link at 64 kbps provides 1000 or 1500 speech circuits. Here the data link sends a message that identifies, specifies trunk and event. Two signaling channels, one for each direction, are used in dedicated manner to carry the signaling information. So hence they are capable of carrying the information for a group of circuit. At the bit rate of 2.6 kbps, CCS can carry the signal for 1500 to 2000 speed circuit. The CCS network is basically a store and forward network. In this network, the signaling information travels link by link basis along the route. The information arrived at a node is stored, the processor processed and forwarded to the next node in the route. The CCS technique is also called the transparent mode for the signaling. Now the CCS signaling message format. The information arrived at a node is stored, processed and forwarded to the next node in the route. The CCS technique is also called as a transparent mode for the signaling. There are some basic properties of CCS. The CCS network is basically a store and forward network where signaling information travel on link by link basis along the route. The signaling information is transferred as a message of varying length defined as signaling units. Some SUM is a message of one signal unit length. MUM means a message of multiple signal unit length. Next is CCS signaling message format. The signaling information is transferred as a message of varying length, usually defined as one or more fixed length signaling units. A message of one signal unit length is called as single unit message, and one with multiple signal units is multi-unit message. Each SU, that is signaling unit, is of the size 28 bits, of which the last 8 bits are check bits. So here is the diagram. The first diagram shows the single unit message and the second is for the multi-unit message or the 3-unit message. So in CCS signaling message format, the signal information is carried in CCS has a typical message format. Consecutive message exchange between the processor generally belong to the different cause. Here the messages are usually of variable length called as a signaling units, that is SU. Now single unit message means SUM. A message of one single unit length is called as a single unit message. Here header 5 bits are allotted for the header. The signal information here is 4 bits allocated. Circuit level 11 bits are allocated, and a signaling message unit may contain address unit, centralized service message unit, acknowledgement unit, synchronization unit, and management message unit. Now multi-unit message means here message with multiple signal unit is known as MUM. In this format, subsequent signaling units to the first SU have 2, 2 and 16 bits for the subheader length field and other signaling function. Other signaling information contain the routing details, addressing digits, etc. And here the address digit is 4 bits long. Next is CCS network. The CCS network improved the performance of the existing network and also established a platform for the introduction of new facilities. The CCS network links between the SPC switching offices, increases the speed of the long distance call connecting timings, and reduces the cost compared to the in channel SF or MF signaling facilities. The CCS network consists of two types of nodes. They are signal transfer points and signal control points. These nodes are interconnected by the signaling link, the original communication protocol used between CCS entities was CCITT signaling system number 6, that is CCS 6. The modified protocol introduced in 1980s by CCITT is signaling system number 7. So the CCS message provide transaction and control signaling between the network node. The architecture of CCS is based on geographical location of signaling point, number and size of the signaling point, offered load, and the services to be provided. So this diagram shows the CCS basic structure. The CCS network has major components as STP, that is signaling transfer point, SCP, that is service control point, LE is link set or link equipment. So what is STP? STP means these are the packet switching node. They receive and route incoming signal towards a destination. What is SCP? SCP means these are database of information regarding advanced call processing capabilities. SCP also verify a credit card and provides a special services. Next is CCS implementation. Now the common channel signaling may be implemented in three ways. They are channel associated mode, channel non-associated mode, and quasi-associated mode. In associated CCS signaling mode, there is a direct link between two exchanges. In this mode, the signaling path passes through the same set of switches as does the speech path. The network topologies of the signaling network and the speech network are the same. This mode of operation is simple, economic, and easy to design. This involves in delayed operation for a long distance communication. In non-associated CCS signaling, there are separate control of the network from the switching machine themselves. In multi-exchange network, the signal message passing through a several intermediate nodes is referred as a non-associated signaling. The network topologies for the signaling and the speech network are different. Between exchanges, many STPs are placed. This approach is flexible as far as the routing is concerned. It demands more comprehensive scheme for message addressing than is needed for channel associated signaling. So this diagram shows three modes of the CCS signaling. That is, first diagram is associated signaling, second is non-associated signaling, and third is quasi-associated signaling. So channel associated mode, here direct link is set up between the two exchanges. The central processors of both the exchanges are connected. Here the exchange A sends the forward signal to the individual speech circuit and then to the exchange B. Here the exchange sends on backward path the exchange B sends the signal to a speech signal and it is then given to the central processor in exchange A. It is inefficient arrangement for a signaling between the two processors. So advantage of this is economic implementation and simple allocation of trunk group to the signaling channel. Then the next is channel non-associated mode. Here the second figure is for non-associated signaling. It does not have a simple or close assignment of control channel to trunk the groups. In multi-exchange network, many CCS link between the exchange are present. It forms a signaling network as there is no close assignment of control channel and trunk groups. The CCS signal can follow various routes through several intermediate nodes. For example, the signaling path for the speech paths AB and BC are ACDB and BCD respectively. Network topologies for the signaling as speech network are different. In general, the message incoming network may be designated to any exchange, so it must include labels containing destination address information. Here the network used for non-associated mode is packet switch network. Now the advantage of this type is flexibility is provided in routing, and disadvantage is that it requires more comprehensive scheme for message addressing as compared to channel associated signaling. Now the third diagram shows the quasi-associated signaling, a CCS network in which associated signaling is used for some constituent parts and non-associated signaling is used for other part, which is known as quasi-associated signaling. Here the signaling paths are not associated but they are fixed for a given speech connections. The CCS equipment in exchange C handles a signaling for connection between exchange A and B. It also provides a signaling for the connection C to A and C to B. As STP is used, each message contains a destination points code for indication of correct exchange. It also contains an originating point code to send backward signal. Quasi-associated signaling used when there are limited circuits between A and B. Now there are some advantages and disadvantages of CCS. First is the advantages. For each associated trunk group, only one set of signaling facility is required. The channel used for CCS need not be associated with any particular group. Second, the introduction of SPC switching mechanism and CCS provide efficient routing procedure. The CCS allows for signaling at any time in the entire duration of call, not only at the beginning. CCS removes most of the signaling cost associated with inter-office trunk. Here the information can be exchanged between the processor at high speed. The CCS provide acceptable quality for the network related signaling tones such as DT, MF, MF and SF achieved. As there is no need of line signaling equipment on every function, considerable cost saving can be achieved. Next disadvantage is, as the separate channels are used for the voice and control, there is no chance of mutual interference and the error rate is very low. And the last disadvantage, CCS enable more services to the subscriber. A signaling link between operating at 64 kilobits per second normally provides a signaling up to 1000 or 1500 speech circuit. Next is the disadvantages of CCS. The CCS network is basically a store and forward network, so in establishment circuit, the signaling information are stored, processed and then forwarded to the next node. This causes the additional overhead and disconnect to the continuity. If one node fails to transmit properly, the facilities downstream from a disconnect will not be released. Thus, a high degree of reliability is required for the common channel. Proper interfacing facility is necessary as most of the present day telephone network are equipped with an in-channel signaling system. As the signaling information is not actually sent over a speech path in CCS, the intensity of the speech path is not assured. As a remedy, The routing testing of the idle path and the continuity test of the establishment path become necessary in CCS. Then there is some difference between in-channel signaling and common channel signaling. In in-channel signaling, automatic propagation of signaling information enables the simultaneous process and release of associated facilities. In common channel, the signal information must be relayed from one node to the next in store and forward fashion. In channel, the integrity of speech and signaling are maintained as they are on the same path. In common channel, special equipment should be provided for the integrity as they are traveling on separate path. So, the trunks are held up during the signaling. In common, the trunks are not required for the signaling. In channel, the separate signaling equipment is required for each trunk and hence it is expensive. In common channel, only one set of signaling equipment is required for whole group of the trunk circuit and therefore CCS is economical. So these are some points which shows the difference between the in channel signaling and the common channel signaling. Thank you.